YouTube, what's going on? Hat here bringing you another budget build. Today we are doing a Fury Druid with as minimal gear as I could possibly muster. I've had a lot of fun building this, and even the GG or the fully geared version is going to be shortly after, so stay tuned. Maybe like and subscribe so you don't miss out on that one, because I'm having a lot of fun putting these together. Especially with these builds, I don't really play much. It's just a lot of fun. So let's get right into it. Thanks again, and let's go. All right, so let's take a look at what we're working with here. As far as gear, we need attack speed stuff. So we're using Steel Skull with a 15 IS Jewel. We are using Reaper's Toll. This is probably, out of the budget gear, this is probably the most expensive item. You could probably get away with something like an Obedience, or even Insight, really. Anything that you can get as a weapon. But this is great because it does the Decrepify on striking, which will break physical immunes. So we don't have to deal with any immunities at all, which is pretty nice at such a low gear level. To be able to have that no immunity as we're clearing through stuff is very nice. Cat's Eye, which is practically free for trading. I mean, I'm sure you can get one pretty cheap. Treachery, you know, Cost of Lemrune, you know, Forge, you'll get that. Or at least something equivalent. Do a few Countess runs, you know, no problem. Gore Riders, you know, just need them. Ravenfrost, this one's very nice. It doesn't have to be this nice. I'm just too lazy to switch to one that's bad. And switch some gear around. You could use Nosferatu's Coil. I like it because it has the life stolen per hit and it slows target. Plus the strength is also not that bad either. Man after kill is good. It's a really good belt. These don't sell for much, but you could also use a gold wrap. We really need it for the attack speed. Gold wrap also gives attack speed, so it also gives you some magic fine, gold fine, but that is what you need for a belt. As far as a ring, other ring, anything with attack rating and life leech, and whatever else you get besides that, whether it's life, res, the more res actually the better. Laying of Hands is going to be our gloves, very cheap, can find these anywhere. As far as all our charms, no Annie, no torch, budget, but everything is resistances. So resistance charms, whatever you got. You know, we're going to need a lot of resistances. Now, the Mercenary can kind of be whatever. I just happen to have a Reaper's Toll on this one. Treachery, Tal's Mask. You could use anything, really. But if you have two Reaper's Tolls, like I said, that's probably not incredibly budget, two Reaper's Tolls, especially very early ladder or early, you know, season reset. But that's just what we're using for now. What else? Nothing on Switch. I might use this just to get +4 to skills to buff, and we'll go over that. As far as our stats, just enough strength to wear our gear, dex to wear our gear, and everything else in vitality. I still have some points left over because I'm testing some things, and I'm afraid I'm gonna put too many in, and they'll be like, "Oh, I want to try this weapon," and then not be able to equip it. So I'm keeping this 40 just in case. What else? Skills. This is interesting. We'll talk about this in a second. We are doing 20 into Werewolf, 1 into these, 20 into Fury, 20 into Lycanthropy. Heart of the Wolverine, we want 20 into that. And I'm using Carrion Vine, so just 1 into that. It just replenishes our life. I wish it did it for the Merc as well. You can make an argument to do 1 into all of these, right? Instead, we are doing 1 into all of this. And now what we're doing is we're keeping Hurricane active and Cyclone Armor active, which now with the new 2.4, which came out obviously beginning of the latter season, which was a long time ago, but still new, right? You can cast Cyclone Armor and Hurricane while in wolf form. Cyclone Armor right now, this is all the remainder of our points. We're only level 81, so I mean, by the time if we were really pushing this build, we'd be probably, you know, in the low 90s. You know, that's 10 more points in the Cyclone Armor. And it would actually do a lot more as far as preventing damage, mitigating damage. And Hurricane it's not for damage, it just chills things, makes them slow, which is just nice because we are going to get surrounded and as a melee build. You could scrap all this and instead do 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and then have the rest of the points into Summon Grizzly. I don't like that unless you have a bunch of plus skills. You know, you have your Torch, your Annie, whatever else you may be wearing that adds plus to skills may be worth it at that point doing that, because all these summons die so fast. Even on players 1, they die so fast. And they're not gonna, unless you're maxing all of these together, which you can't because, you know, we're maxing all these, they're not gonna do any damage. So that's why we've chosen this path as budget. If we weren't budget and we had a bunch of plus skills, we may be able to make an argument for this, but I've tested it. They just die. They just die, and then you die because you're like trying to recast them all, and it's horrible. Oh, the Merc is wrong. What? All right, so Merc is Might Aura, by the way. All right, let's get into it. So let's kill some stuff, show what it's all about. This is Hell, players 1. We're gonna swap to our, you know, if we had Spirit or something, just something with extra skills on. You don't have to have this, but it's just something to use our offhand slots. We'll cast that, we'll cast that, we'll cast that, and that. And you know what? We'll even go into wolf form like this. And then the only thing that we do need to worry about is our resistances, even with all these charms that we have, are trash. They are absolutely god-awful, which is why we do treachery. So we're gonna quick cut while I get me some what do you call it? Fade proc real quick. So we're gonna stand this fire, hold tight. What looks badass? Look at that. Does 30%? I think it's all damage reduction. Pocket, yeah. I could be wrong. I'm like 90% sure. It's nothing I've looked up. Just top of my head. I'm pretty sure it's everything. Drax and Ripcracker? Not budget enough, unfortunately. Drax are usually Malrunes and stuff, and you know, it's not needed. It's not needed. There we go. All right, our resistance is good. We are going to do this one more time, and we're moving. Now with such a low level, so we have a Feral Rage, which when we attack with that, we'll get some stacks of movement speed. So this little red orb around us lets us know that that's going. And then we can switch to our Fury and start moving with that. Keeping Hurricane up isn't the biggest deal in the world. It's just somewhat nice to have some type of crowd control, slow things down a little bit. Just a little bit. But the proc of the Reaper's Toll is awesome. Once they're cursed, they go down pretty quickly. They move slower. It's just great. The movement speed is a downside to this build. I think we, you know, it's kind of a pain to kind of just walk. Even when we do get our, what do you call them? Our Feral Rage charges, it's still not that fast. So a little bit of downsized movement speed, but we seem to be melting things pretty fast with the minimal gear that we have on. And I like that. That's not nothing to scoff at whatsoever. I usually start this when I get to... whatever. Anyways, we'll, I want to show you when I get... one of the downsides, or I guess something that this struggles with, is if we get completely and utterly surrounded. At that point, things start to go haywire. Our minions will start dying. But hopefully we end up just killing things fast enough that's not an issue. But because Fury kind of just attacks targets randomly around us, we end up doing like, we end up hitting everything like once rather than being able to actually take one thing down at a time. Which in some ways is good, but when it's a lot of things, it's not so good because we end up getting surrounded and we end up taking damage from like 10 things at once for way too long, and that can end up being a problem. But that's just something more better gear will fix, just taking things down quicker before they have the chance to surround us, right? But that also is what makes Hurricane pretty nice, is it does slow some things down when they're not immune to cold. But yeah, I mean, I got knife through butter. We're just going through it. Not that bad. Like I said, the only thing that's really slowing us down is just the movement speed. I'm just gonna leave it. You know? Which, if we were better at managing... our different attacks, we could probably go a little bit faster. With all the summons, I have seen, like, say there's a boss that's just, you just want to take down as fast as you can. See, look, our little thing just died. They need to make... Our Heart of the Wolverine dies like crazy. It's really annoying to keep up with. When they did the 2.4 patch, they made the summons like these more survivable. But, I mean, it still goes down way too quick. It's such a pain. They need to just make them untargetable. Make them invincible. They're not gonna, you know, it's just a buff, right? Because it's such a pain to keep that alive. You know, even when, like, Diablo does his big AoE fire thing, I mean, it takes them out, and it's like, you know, what if, you know, if we have to do Ubers, you know, we kind of rely on that for a lot of attack rating and whatnot, and if that thing goes down, it's like, you gotta stop and cast, and unfortunately, when you're casting, you're pretty vulnerable once you stop attacking. So, it's just one of the things with this class in general that I feel could be tweaked or made better. The same thing for Oak Sage, right? Oak Sage also dies way too fast. Way too fast. They need to do something about that. Just make them untargetable. Or make their AI that they're not standing in the middle. Like, it should be hanging out over here, right? Instead he's wandering over here and dying. That's just annoying. It just drives me crazy. All the AI just wanna die. It's like they're any AI, whether it's a mercenary, a bow mercenary, she'll just walk right into fire. You know, no questions asked. It's annoying. It drives me crazy. There we go. But you can imagine, you know, we're not using Oak Sage, but with Lycanthropy and with, if we had like a CTA, right? Our life total would be pretty high up there, which is pretty cool. And like I said, we will be doing a full version, kind of like a completed gear set version of this build, probably right after this one, so stay tuned. We do get hit pretty hard by those guys, which is also something to be wary of. Let's see, one of our summons died. This on. If we had Cyclone Armor at a higher level, I'd probably be casting it more. But because it kind of just wears off immediately because it's such a low level, I don't cast it that much. And these guys will drain it quick, I'm sure. But slight work, you know what I mean? Easy clap. Done, done, done. Let's go. Yeah. So I do have the build and all the numbers in the description below, the max roll GG. You can go ahead, load that up, plug in your own stuff if you want, if you think something will work better. If you have different gear and are thinking, what should I get next? What's going to be the best thing? You can plug in your own gear and then start plugging in pieces of this at a time. And yeah, that's it. Once again, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching the video. It means more to me than you can possibly imagine. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I will catch you guys on the next one. Much love and peace, peace.